Group 345, EPrep. This is now video number 5, and we're going to cover the family emergency preparedness material. Now, remember that we've gone through some of your individual preparedness. That's your mental preparedness. We talked a bit about individual response to events. Now we're going to talk about family material or family disaster events and things that happen when you're with your family. And we know statistically that most times that you'll encounter some kind of a disaster, you'll be with either a group of people that you know or with your family. First and most important thing is to make sure that they're safe, look after the people that you know, try to mitigate other potential injuries. When you're out somewhere with family, again, make sure that they're safe before you go start attending to other people. But a lot of these disasters may happen at home, so we're going to talk about some preparedness in the house that you can go over some of these things with your family and help teach them how to be prepared, and then how you can maybe look through the house, make sure your house is prepared, make sure that you have family emergency kits and things like that. So on page 6 we start out with what's 2C. Meet with your family and teach them how to be prepared and respond to each of the situations in that chart that you created way back, I believe on pages 3 and 4. The best thing about this is that by teaching them, you're going to learn it better. The best way to learn anything is to teach someone else about it as well. The next one is to teach them how to build an emergency kit for those situations. The important thing here is that whenever you do something with a group of people, or individually, but right now we're talking about a group of people, your family, let's say you're going to go on a trip, or you're going to go somewhere, or there's some kind of event going to be happening at your house, be prepared by having an emergency or disaster kit ready for that particular situation. And they're going to vary depending on what that situation is. Let's say you're going to go hiking in the woods with your family. Well, you want to make sure that you have things like a whistle, a compass, plenty of water, as well as ways to purify water. You want to have a knife or something that can cut things. You want to have matches so that you can have a fire. You definitely want to have a whistle so that you can call for help. That may be a little bit different if you're going on, let's say, a boat trip or a boat ride, where with that you definitely want to have flares, personal flotation devices. You want to have maybe oars, make sure that the boat has oars so you can row if the motor goes out. You want to have proper tow lines. These are part of your emergency kit in case there's a disaster. Definitely a two-way radio, maybe even a flare gun. And that might be different than if you're going into a snowstorm. Let's say you're going to go skiing, and or drive anywhere in the snow. You want to make sure you have hats and boots, gloves, shovel, maybe some salt if you got stuck for tires. You might want matches if you have to make a fire. So think ahead, be prepared with a kit for those individual situations. Now, what about a family evacuation kit? What they really mean here is that, let's say something happens where your family either has to be in the house and can't go anywhere for a period of time, or has to evacuate. And for that, you definitely want to have water. Water is always key, and a way to purify other water. You want to have a radio, matches. Everybody should have at least a couple days worth of stored food and water. Also, always have a meeting place arranged. Your family should know that if they get dispersed, there's a place where you're going to meet. Make sure you have different forms of communication devices set up. Then it talks about meeting with a counselor and going over this. Number 9 is you're going to do one of 3 things. You're going to use a safety checklist, which I provided in here, so you can go through your house, and I highly recommend this. It's easy. Go through your house. Make sure you have some of the safety things that you need. For example, the proper fire extinguishers and electrical circuits. And it's good to know these things about your house anyway. On the other page, you can show from the main floor of your house, or perhaps the upper floor where you're sleeping. Make sure there's an exit plan. And here's an important thing all of you should do. It's on both the previous activity and this one. If you have a second story to the house, make sure that at least both ends of the house you have a way to get down and out from the upper floor. For some of you, that may be hopping onto the garage down, but for most people, you're going to have at least one metal, so it doesn't catch on fire, escape ladder. And in our house, we have one under the master bed, so everybody knows that if they have to get out, they can go and get that metal chain ladder. Then the C is to develop an accident prevention program for 5 activities. We kind of talked about that in the first one, so that one's pretty easy because it's a little bit redundant, going over some 5 different types of activities you do with your family and what kinds of things that you would put together to prepare for a potential problem and how you would plan to mitigate those hazards. So that's it with the family one. The next video we're going to be talking about community. So we're going to go from personal preparedness, then the family, the last page 8 and 9 we're going to talk about community, and the final video will be about the mobilization and disaster response.